Hello, and welcome to the Child Development Home Licensing Orientation. This webinar will take you step by step through the licensing process to receive a license for a child development home. Before we get started, in this chart you will find key staff within the Division of Early Learning that you may contact based on your ward. Step 1. Orientation. View the online licensing webinar. Please note, in-person licensing orientations are based upon the number of requests. Step 2. Obtain home occupation permit. Obtain a home occupation permit from the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, Building and Land Regulation Administration, Zoning Division. Step 3. Submit application. Prepare the initial application materials. All of the forms listed below can be found on the OSSI Division of Early Learning Licensing homepage. Once all of the forms have been completed, submit the initial application materials to the Office of the State Superintendent of Education, Division of Early Learning, Child Care Licensing Unit. Step 4. Prepare for initial inspection. The licensing specialist assigned to your ward will contact you within 10 business days of application receipt. Prepare the following for review: program and policy statement, emergency contingency plan, and a sample 5-day menu following USDA Child and Adult Food Care Program meal pattern. These forms can also be found on the OSSI Division of Early Learning Licensing homepage. Step 5. Initial inspection. Upon initial inspection, your licensing specialist will inspect your home to ensure all safety, health, and licensing requirements are met, review all documents submitted by the applicant for initial inspection, and issue a Statement of Deficiencies report with recommended plan of correction. Applicant has 60 days to abate all existing deficiencies. Step 6. Lead inspection. Obtain a lead-based paint clearance from a certified lead risk assessor. This is only required for homes that were built prior to 1979. A list of certified lead risk assessors can be found at the District Department of the Environment. Submit a copy of your lead-based paint clearance to your licensing specialist upon receipt, prior to the issuance of the license. Step 7. Approved fire evacuation plan. Your licensing specialist will make a referral on your behalf to the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, Fire Protection Branch, and Building and Land Regulation Administration. A DCRA representative will contact you to schedule a full on-site fire prevention inspection and fire evacuation plan review. Submit a copy of your final inspection approval and fire evacuation plan to your licensing specialist upon receipt. Step 8. Prepare site. Purchase developmentally appropriate materials, manipulatives, equipment, cots, cribs that is sufficient for the number of children enrolled. Identify program space and set up program learning activity areas for children. Complete staff files, which include a current health certificate, employee health information form, employee appointment form, educational credentials, resume, sudden infant death syndrome training, first aid and CPR certification. Prepare sample children's record keeping filing system. We will go more in depth into record keeping in a future section of this webinar. Step 9. Schedule follow-up inspection. After all forms have been completed and all deficiencies have been abated, contact your licensing specialist to schedule a follow-up inspection and validation inspection. Step 10. is your last step in the licensing process. Initial license issuance. Your licensing specialist will assess steps 1 through 9 for completion and will issue an initial license. Licensing timeline. This section will review the licensing process timeline from start to finish. Licensing timeline. The licensing process takes approximately 1 to 3 months. The time frame in which an applicant receives his or her license heavily depends on his or her availability and the time frame it takes for the applicant to correct any identified deficiencies. Regulations and requirements. In this section, we will review all regulations and requirements for opening a child care development center. Inspection authority. The Child Care Licensing Unit has the authority to enter the premises of any licensed child development facility, either with or without notice, after presenting proper government identification. Role of a licensed child development facility. To protect the health, safety, and well-being of children in licensed child development facilities and to ensure the provision of developmentally appropriate programs to those children. To be in compliance with the District of Columbia Title 29 DCMR Chapter 3 Child Development Facility Regulations. Child Development Facilities Regulations. All licensed child development facilities shall abide by the District of Columbia Title 29 DCMR Chapter 3 Child Development Facility Regulations, which can be found at the links below. Capacity. A child development home may be licensed to provide care for up to 6 children. No more than 2 children may be non-ambulatory or under 2 years of age. The number of children in the child development home and the number of children under 2 years of age shall include all children age 4 and younger who reside in the home of the caregiver. Indoor space requirements. Each child development home must obtain approval from the superintendent for the use of all program space and may only offer child care in approved space. The caregiver shall arrange the play space and the furniture in the approved program space within the child development home so as to allow adequate room for active and quiet play and for individual and group activities. Each child development home shall provide a sufficient amount of developmentally appropriate materials, games, equipment, and books to meet the needs of the children enrolled at the facility. Indoor space requirements continued. Storage space, cubbies, napping equipment, space for individual groups, classes, drinking water, food preparation area to include sink, hot and cold water, refrigeration and storage. Facility must be clean, safe, sanitary, and in good repair. Hazardous materials must be inaccessible. Storage areas for poisons must be locked. These are all requirements for your indoor facility. General furnishings, equipment, and supplies. Each child development facility shall provide a variety and sufficient quantities of materials, equipment, and supplies for indoor and outdoor activities consistent with the numbers, ages, and needs of the infants, toddlers, preschool, and school-age children enrolled. Cots and cribs. Each child development facility must provide every child enrolled in a full-day program with an individual crib or cot. Blankets are to be provided by the facility or child's family. Examples of items not permitted: walkers, crib gyms, stacked cribs, playpens, projectile toys, and tricycles with spokes. If you have any questions on restricted items for your home site, please contact your licensing specialist. Outdoor space requirements. All children should be given regular opportunities for outdoor play in a safe, developmentally appropriate outdoor environment. If an outdoor play space is not available on the premises, the caregiver shall ensure that all enrolled children are given regular opportunities for safe play at one or more nearby parks or playgrounds. Health and sanitation requirements. The facility shall ensure that no person, including staff, parents, and visitors, smoke or use tobacco products within the program space. During hours of operation, all tobacco products must remain out of the reach of children at all times. When children are in the care of the facility, on or off site, no staff member shall be under the influence or consume alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. Health and sanitation requirements continued. Each child development facility shall establish, implement, and display a written policy regarding hand washing, which addresses when hand washing is required for staff and for children, and specific hand washing procedures. Health and sanitation requirements continued. Each child development facility shall locate its diaper changing area so that it is in close proximity to a source of warm, running water and soap and is not in or near the facility kitchen area. Health and safety requirements continued. Each home shall have, at all times, one staff person who possesses current certification in first aid and CPR for children, and the prevention, recognition, and management of communicable diseases. Each home shall obtain and maintain a sufficient quantity of first aid supplies. Health and sanitation requirements continued. Each facility shall comply with the latest recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics with regard to SIDS, which include: unless otherwise ordered by a physician or other qualified healthcare practitioner, each infant shall be placed on his or her back for sleeping. Each infant shall be placed on his or her stomach for some part of the time during which he or she is awake and observed. No positioning device shall be used to restrict the movement of an infant unless such device is ordered by a physician or other qualified health practitioner. No soft materials or objects such as pillows, quilts, comforters, sheepskins, and stuffed toys shall be permitted in the infant's sleep environment. If bumper pads are used in an infant's crib, they shall be this firm, well secured, and not pillow-like, and they shall not be placed under a sleeping infant. No infants shall be put to sleep on a sofa, soft mattress, waterbed, chair cushion, or other soft surface. Health and sanitation requirements continued. In the event that a child development facility permits animals on the premises, it shall comply with the following requirements. The facility shall adhere to all local ordinances governing the keeping and maintenance of animals and shall maintain on the facility premises proof of current compliance with all applicable vaccination requirements. The facility shall advise the parents or guardians of the enrolled children of the presence of animals and shall ensure that all pets or animals permitted on the premises are in good health, show no evidence of carrying disease, are friendly towards children, and do not present threats to the health, safety, and well-being of children. Health and sanitation requirements continued. Administration of medication. No child development facility may provide medicine or treatment with the exception of emergency first aid to any child unless the facility has obtained a written medical order or prescription from the child's licensed health care practitioner and the written consent of the child's parent or guardian. The facility may administer non-prescription topical ointments, including sunblock, petroleum jelly, and diaper ointment to a child upon obtaining the permission of the child's parent or guardian. Each non-prescription topical ointment must be maintained in its original container and shall be administered in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Transportation. Each child development facility that owns, operates, or maintains one or more motor vehicles used for transporting children shall comply with all applicable federal and District of Columbia laws and regulations governing the maintenance and operation of motor vehicles and the transportation of children. Record keeping. In this final section, we will review record keeping requirements for children and staff. Staff record keeping. Staff/volunteer record keeping checklist. You may find this checklist helpful in making sure that all required records are in your staff person's file. Child care employee appointment, promotion, or separation notification. Child development facility employee health information form. Staff health certificate, credential/transcript, first aid and CPR certification, food handling identification, sudden infant death syndrome training, federal, criminal, and background history check results, any applicable forms. Children's record keeping. Children's record keeping checklist. This checklist can be used to make sure all necessary files are in each child's record. Registration record, travel activity authorization, proof parents received, read, and understand program's policies and procedures, authorization for child's emergency medical treatment, DC Universal Health Certificate exam, DC Oral Health Exam Certificate, Medication Authorization Record, Developmental Progress Reports, Unusual Incident Reports, and any applicable forms. Thank you for viewing the online Child Development Home Licensing Orientation. If you have any questions about the licensing process or this presentation, please contact the licensing specialist for your ward. Thank you and have a great day.